Let's just go in there. But I can do this, actually. I have no problem putting it out there. I just would not show you a picture of it because, well, there's all of my information there now. But it's fun. Let's just say it's fun for the whole family. But, well, I need to get this all done until the... shut up. Until the 17th of this month? Yeah, I think pretty sure it's the 17th of this month. At which point I have to have all of my documentation ready and in, and then I have to go there, and then I have to go with another, sit down with one of their guys, and we go through all of the documentation again, to make sure all the data is correct, then they will sign up on that, just as me, that yes, everything is correct, and then we can start the process of letting this actually run through the system. It's amazingly annoying. Yes, I have to wait until the 17th, then everything needs to be there, then everything needs to be checked first, and then, once it's checked, we'll actually let it run by the system, to see if the system agrees that, yes, I should probably not be on, you know, on the street, without any fucking food. I love our system. Well, as you can kind of see, this is basically just a bit of break time for me between doing one thing or another, so we are going to try to finish, you know, the Goblin starting zone. It's fun. I was about to say, yeah, if my memory of what Christian represents as anything to go by, that is the last person I would like to imitate in any way, shape or form. But I'm surprisingly adverse to the idea of just, you know, online begging or selling random shit and claiming that it had any worth. Do you want me to sit down with, I don't know, a bit of, you know, sandrock and filing it down and then go like, here, look, this now costs $500 because I made it. I mean, come on, I'm not opposed to some scamming, but there is a upper limit to that. Although, to be fair, as for things I might do for money, I might actually, because ye olde Brian was actually kinda happy with my video. He watched it, even I can see it, because YouTube says like it has a... Actually, has it still a view? How does this video do, actually? Because, you know, I of course uploaded it. 8 full views, that's not much, but it's actually 7 more than I expected it to get. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. That is something I would do for money, because then at least you get something for your money. I need to target something first. Shut up, you don't need to target anything. Actually, no, to be completely fair and honest, you know, just sitting there watching the video and commenting, it was actually a lot less painful than I was expecting it to be. Mostly because the video had a nice little happy end, I thought. Yeah. I am not saying, you know, that, actually, as much as it should perturb anyone to know, I think the most mined for money these days, legally, so, actually miners. That's kind of disgusting when you think about it. Because, you know, most adults will at least somewhat be capable of understanding that, you know, that's marketing and not of the good kind. A lot of miners don't, which makes them ideally mineable. Farmable even, yes, we're playing WoW. Why don't we just call it what it is? Ah, it's amazing. Compared to some of the shit that some of these companies do in order to get miners to actually spend money. Well, the fact that miners have so much money these days. Nevertheless, compared to that, the marketing Apple does for its totally legit products, totally legit, pales in comparison. Pales indeed, I would say. Actually, why don't I have my little demon out? Actually, I have a big demon now. It's amazing. I actually... Oh, that would actually be an article I would be willing to talk about without any payment, because I actually read an interesting article a few days ago. It's German, so it's gonna be a bit difficult to do it, but oh right, yeah. That actually gave a bit of the statistics about just how many people age, I think, 10 to 18 actually have experience with gambling or gambling-like games. And I think the number was over 50%. And I was like, okay, that's bad. You are a very small brain, still very much not experienced in life person, and you don't have the necessary restraint that would be rather impeccable to have when it comes to gambling. If you actually grow up in an environment where gambling is fun, engaging, it's a game, yeah, that's not the sort of habit you should get into early on. That can ruin lives. It's a bit like speedrunning your life, because I can already tell you, if you start like this, there's a good chance that by the time you reach the ripe old age of, I don't know, 20, 25, you'll probably be in debt. Sounds fun. Sounds really fun. This is basically the consequence of this whole nonsense, like, with loot boxes and gacha games. I mean, it's not like I've never played gacha games, mind you. There are some skins where that I look at and go like, you know what, I would like to have that. I'm just not willing to spend any money on it. But if you take one quick look at YouTube, there's some content creators who make videos go like, look at me spending thousands of dollars on this fucking gacha game. You're sitting there like, do you really think that's the right idea to present to your audience? Especially if you're making this sort of brain-rotting, short attention span content that is aimed at a younger audience. Do you really think it's a good idea to show them that? Do you really want to normalize that sort of behavior? It's like, fuck me, eh? Fuck me indeed. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be dealing with the hammer, don't I? Told you so. But yeah, that's the same as it is with any gambling, any sort of larger marketing. It's like, okay, the first is free. The second is gonna cost you money down. They want you to get addicted first, then milk you. So, you know, just me personally, I'm happy with that. You know, if I play a gacha game and it's like, okay, that's a nice skin, I would like to have that, and the game's like, look, I'll give you 10 free pulls, and I get it, yay. And if not, I'm like, okay. The next skin is probably gonna be cool as well. I don't give a fuck. Why would I? Sadly, that's not true, everyone. Basically, yeah. Or highly discounted, at least. And honestly, I don't actually blame the kids for that, necessarily. Kids are dumb. That's normal. You will stay dumb for the most part of your life. You will learn some lessons, yes, some painful lessons. Mostly because if it's not painful, you're not gonna learn. But that doesn't mean that you're wise to all the tricks. There's always gonna be at least one or two tricks. It's the same like everybody says, you know, advertising doesn't work on me. Everyone says that. If that were the case, do you really think companies would spend that much money on fucking marketing? If it wouldn't work. The whole point is it works. There are very few people that it doesn't work on in some way or another. In my case, for example, an over focus on good marketing is actually a net minus in my book. Because that means that money and personnel and other things that should be used on your product are actually spent advertising for said product. And if you overdo it, I'm just gonna look at you and go like, your product can't be good. But that still is an effect that it had on me, mind you.
Spit it out.
And compared to that, in a strange way, I think WoW actually is relatively honest, both in its marketing and as I actually looked this up, but did you know that WoW actually is almost 20 fucking years old? Jesus Christ, we've both grown quite old. Good times, I tell ya.
Be careful out there.
Good times indeed.
Glad I could help.
What do you mean only 20 years? Give me another game that has run that fucking long as a live service game. Still has actually rather... I mean, it's nothing compared to the earlier days of WoW, but it still has a rather nice, big customer base. It's respectable. Yeah, we're not counting, you know, the original mod for Warcraft 3, because well, then it would be even old, because then I would have to start at Warcraft 3, Frozen Throne. Actually, not Frozen Throne, Reign of Chaos. But WoW itself, the official World of Warcraft vanilla, is almost 20 years old. I think they actually have the celebrations for that upcoming, because I saw it in the Blizzard launcher. I think it's in November or something again. Which means that, you know, although on and off and not all the time, it also means that I have been playing this game for, well, 20 years. Jesus Christ. Yeah, of course, RuneScape is older. RuneScape is, although, to be fair, RuneScape kinda pales in comparison to WoW. When it comes to influencing. And honestly, they did many things right. Blizzard, you know, although I hate Blizzard with all of my heart at this point, probably many things they did wrong. They did a few things right in the past. For example, one of the advantages of WoW, look at this more comic-y style. You might like it, you might not like it, and that's totally fair, but the good point is, this shit ages pretty damn well, compared to hyper-realistic graphic. I remember stuff like Guild Wars, who went in a more realistic graphic design way, and yeah, that aged like like milk. However, WoW basically still looks pretty much the same. Heck, I think actually some of the models or they took directly from Warcraft 3, if memory serves, for like the stuff like the chickens. Yeah, but you know, neither RuneScape nor all of the other really old RPG online experiences never had that reach that WoW achieved. WoW was basically the origin MMO. This was the game that popularized it to the point of, I don't even know how many million of fucking players they had, because there was a lot. There was really a lot. And I do mean that. And even though WoW has over the years, of course, bled and bled and bled, and every single fucking year you heard of a new WoW killer that came out and never really managed to succeed at it. Yes, and compare that to WoW. A few millions? Yeah, Blizzard is going to fucking laugh at you and go like, at our peak we had. I don't even want to think about it. It's amazing. Also, WoW kinda popularized it to the point where it actually became a lot more mainstream, when you think about it, than, because I of course knew, I know of RuneScape, I actually played a little bit of that very early on, but that is because I was already interested in games. A lot of people, however, that was a bit too far out there, compared to WoW. Good times, I tell ya. Good times. And honestly, it's not like I didn't enjoy my experiences playing WoW in vanilla, mind you. It was a great fun experience, you know, everything new, lots of fun to explore and shit. It was amazing. And I mean, there are some aspects that they kinda lost out on, if you ask me. But I mean, times change. In time I've accepted that nothing will stay the same and people will complain about it anyway if it stays the same, so I guess I'm just gonna accept it. Although, to be fair, I do like the whole idea of Classic, which is why we actually did play that when we had the opportunity. Well, we leveled the whole fucking Warlock up to level 40. I guess we kinda... If at some point somebody is willing to pay 30 bucks for me to play that game, we might actually finish that all the way to level 60. Because I actually didn't mind leveling in Classic. Not at all, actually. If you see... No. And not off the top of my head, at least. But then again, as I have kind of politely pointed out to you, I was actually kinda, you know, busy with other things. Doesn't really lend itself well to anything else. Also reminds me, I do need to set some nice raids up for talking about different topics, don't I? What? Who? Where? Ah, there. Which? Ah, the Naga. I think there was once a plan to make the Naga a playable race. I kind of like that idea. Never came to be, but no. Pay 20 euros to play or till you max out one skill. No matter which one. That very much so depends on A, how long you're willing to wait, because right now I actually don't have that much time. And B, how much does it actually take time-wise? I do have to be somewhat careful, because I don't really like to make promises that I can't keep, as you probably know at this point. New teleport available. But just stop attacking me when I'm trying to destroy your banners, and they're like, no, that's the whole point. We're attacking you because you're fucking destroying our banners. We don't like that. Like, okay, though, you're making a fair point there, Naga. You're making a fair point there. Strategy, it's not like I'm opposed to playing games. You know I'm not opposed to playing games, but if the... I mean, basically, if you're not willing to pay for my life expenses come the next year, and I don't think even you want to pay that much to me on a regular basis, I do kind of need to make sure that I'm not out on the street first, then play games. But if you're me, I hate that as much as everybody else. Heck, given half a choice, I would probably spend all day playing games, and my apartment would turn into an actual cave in no time flat. On your phone. There's only one game I've ever played on my phone. Actually, that is true, neat. And I only installed it per chance, and then I was like, that's actually kind of nice. Oh wait, I miss a Naga hide. What about to say? I mean, the very moment I realized I could, because, you know, I installed it, I played it, and I was like, there's actually an emulator for my PC. And I was like, okay, I'm never gonna play this on my phone again. Why would I? And I can play it on the big monitor. I'm not much of a mobile gamer, at least not a good one, I suppose. Well, it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, honestly, why would you? Why would you go for this if you have the option of just playing it on your fucking PC? One of those things. Also, that reminds me, speaking of PCs, or technical literacy,
Yeah? What do you want?
there's actually a nice article about that as well.
Glad I could help.
That kind of concluded that in, you know, 10 years or so time, the young people will not be... there's really no nice way of saying that, is there? Well, basically so illiterate when it comes to the own technology they use that even the smallest problem will be far beyond their ability to fix, meaning that every sort of actually repair will have to be done by companies. Companies are rubbing their greedy little hands going like, these people have no fucking idea what we're talking about, we can charge them whatever the fuck we want. Which is actually something that some companies do. I think... Who was the great offender the last... was it a few years ago? I don't remember. It was Asus, right. Asus actually charges people an unbelievably high amount, even if what they actually send the product in should officially be falling under their warranty. It's amazing. Why do they get away with that? Because A, they apply pressure, of course, by giving you a very thin time frame in which you can react. And B, because they damn well know that most of the people have no idea. If they write some fucking nonsense and they're like, connector ABCYD is broken and we need to completely put in a new motherboard. Yeah, no, most people are going to look at it and go like, okay, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's fucking disgusting. If you were at least somewhat, minimally literate in this particular area, you would go look at it and go like, fuck that shit, no. That doesn't require a fucking whole new motherboard, that requires some fucking molding, and that's all. Yeah. I stop. I'm gonna stop and take some smoke into our... I mean, at the end of the day, this is just one example, of course. But a lot of companies will do that and will happily abuse their customers like that. they tell you, well, we can't fix this. This is external damage by the customer. Yeah, give us a few $100 and we'll do it for you. Which is completely fucking well, I could complain about this all day. The good thing is that wouldn't change a thing, because people will be just as illiterate. Actually, the fun thing, the old generation, my parents' generation, when it comes to things like PCs, laptops, anything that isn't, you know, a hi-fi sound system, basically, and even with that, pretty damn fucking illiterate. Then comes my generation, who's like, I know how this shit works, I can fix this shit if I need to. And then comes the next generation, who once again has completely forgotten how to do this shit. It's like, shouldn't we retain some of that knowledge? Shouldn't you have some interest in acquiring that knowledge? Because it's easier to buy a new iPhone every year. That's reasonable. Totally reasonable. My, what strange tidings, what strange ideas would I be spouting if I were to suggest that you can use a fucking phone, a fucking PC, a fucking laptop, longer than just a year until the new model comes out. Oh my god, what an idea. If I tell my father or my grandfather's generation, when it comes to cars, I'd be like, yeah, of course, I'm gonna keep that thing running until it's, you know, fucking so broken down that you would literally have to replace pretty much the whole engine. I'd be like, yeah, that sounds reasonable, that's kind of what we have been doing, right? That's kind of how that works, right? That's a pricey purchase. Yeah, what was I supposed to do? Use infernal latent right and irresistible pool pony, okay? Riding a pool pony now. We do live in a strange time. I have to admit. We do live in a strange time. Strange times indeed. That is strange. I mean, in my case, nobody needed to tell me that I should take interest in these things, because I just took interest in them, and I was like, we had an old thing lying around, I open it up and look inside. What's inside? Okay, some springs. That's cute. What does that do? For some reason, that apparently too has become a strange thing. I mean, the fun thing is, you know, it's not like I'm an expert with lots of these things. It's just that I have enough interest that, for some mysterious reason, I have ended up an expert compared to the average person. Basic, isn't it? Jesus, there was a time when all I wanted to do was just play some games. That is all I wanted out of this particular experience. Strange times we live in. Strange times we live in indeed. I mean, that's normal when you're a kid, you break shit, but you know, of course. Then also broke it open and looked inside. Landed to a few alarm clocks and shit. Just because, well, you know, it's already broken, it doesn't work, so it's not gonna cost me much to open it up and look inside. See how it works. And I can try playing around with the parts. If I see something that looks obviously broken, I can see if I can fix that. And if not, well, it doesn't cost me anything. Some natural curiosity, basically. Kinda is rather important. Strange times indeed. Strange times indeed. Actually, now that I think about it, I'm sitting here all nice and relaxed. Is actually anything... Oh yeah, I forgot. I need to check something later. And at some point I do have to find some time to actually go shopping. I was actually sitting here and making the unilateral decision that I was like, you know what? I can go shopping later still. I'm gonna play some games now, fuck it. You don't have to force a 7-year-old.
See you around, friend.
Normally.
Keep your ear to the ground.
However, if your 7-year-old grows up on fucking stuff that requires that will induce a reduced attention span because the sort of content they enjoy, it's like 30 seconds nonsense, yeah, then it's going to be a bit harder to keep them interested. We do. Since these assholes actually want me to pay extra, and I'm not willing to pay any extra because, well, quite frankly, I don't have the money to pay extra, it is actually cheaper to just go to the store, buy what you want, take, of course, advantage of the of any sort of sale or any other thing like that, and well, be happy. It's not that we don't have any. If I look online, I can see like 3 companies. Actually, one of the big grocery stores chains around here actually started doing this now, where they actually do deliver things. But as I said, I'm not going to fucking pay them extra for that. Mostly because, well, I can't really afford it, to be completely fair and honest. Which of course also means that it is a far better option to just go to the store in a very classical sense, because, well, usually some stuff is on sale, and usually I don't write any sort of, grocery shopping list or anything. I just go in, I see, okay, so what's on sale, and then I make my mind up what I'm gonna get. For example, if they have some vegetables on cheap, I'm gonna buy those, and I'm gonna put them to different uses. Mostly I'm going to fry them and be done with it, but you get the idea. Are you up there? Ah, just needed to stand in the right position. Of course. I have flying. Can I? Oh, okay. You wanna have your evil guy monologue? Fair enough, fair enough. And honestly, I mean, I live in a city. It's not really that far for me. Sure, you could make the argument that it's not as comfortable if you don't get shit delivered to you, but meh. I mean, unless, you wanna pay for my fucking like grocery. I guess I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. Still the nicest and cheapest option, I must admit. Well, obviously. Any company at the end of the day is just a construct that exists to generate profits. In the case of selling stuff like groceries, the margin between what you actually have to pay buying that shit and then the amount you get for selling it to your end customer is basically the most important thing. Meaning that, for example, lots of these companies are actually going to very clearly look what sells, what not, drop some things, add new things, and all of that. All with the added benefit of not actually having to maintain a storefront, which requires more personnel and, well, requires more money. Pretty sweet deal for them, I must admit. Lots of companies would actually really enjoy it if they could just close all of their stores and just, have warehouses and some logistic going on. Because from a profit standpoint, that's actually better for them. I don't like that at all, actually. Because there are some advantages to actually going, classically shopping. But alas, who am I to say?
I've seen you around here before. Keep it real.
Let's see, this one is better. I have something on my head. It looks stupid, but I guess I'm gonna have to get used to it. That is actually true. Even as a workplace, Aldi, while they did in the past had some trouble with that, I have actually become one of the better one as far as specifically the food industry goes, because that's basically the main selling point. I mean, to be fair strategy. most countries actually have a system not unlike Germany where you are required, once you get 18, to spend some time with the military. So just being conscripted once is not really something that you can hold against them. Depending on how old you are, you're not even going to be with the Wehrmacht, but with the Bundeswehr. Which is still basically the German army, to be fair, but alas. Yeah, actually Aldi does enjoy a good reputation, although they have made some problematic decisions over the last couple years. You see, originally Aldi was basically the, well, to put it mildly, they were the cheap alternative. They were the guys who just, put stuff on pallets, carted it into this fucking store and went like, here, buy this shit for cheap. So basically they were well known for being, the cheap alternative. And they were pretty good at that. Personally, I find it very enjoyable. The idea was genius, because of course, the savvy housewife of the day did kinda enjoy getting shit cheap, and while they were not very well known for having stuff like, good fresh vegetables or something, the amount of stuff they had on sale each week, plus the very, very cheap cost that they could justify because, well, they literally went for the cheapest potential route, was actually pretty good and solid. For the last few days they decided to change their image around, and now they're kind of going for the more high-class approach, which means their stores cost them more money, which means they need more personnel, which means the prices are rising. They kind of lost the point there because, well, if you establish yourself as the cheap one, and that is your selling point, you should probably stay there. I don't know. It's high. It's not high class per se, mind you. If for example, around here you want high class, there's stuff like Edeka, who's a lot more high class, or feels more high class. But Aldi has changed their representation inside their stores. I don't know if that has actually become part of their international marketing strategy. But where, as I said, in the past you just said stuff on pallets, just put down, take it or leave it. Nowadays they actually do have more. It's at the end, it's stuff like fake wood, but they do try to make it look a lot nicer. They have actually redesigned a lot of their stores, and it has cost them a lot of money. And as I said, if your whole spiel, if your whole fucking marketing point, the whole point why people actually like you is the fact that you're the cheap one, it really shouldn't go that way. What am I supposed to? I'm supposed to be using the cannons now? Nice. I like cannons. Get wrecked. That'll pick me. No mercy for the indigenous population of this island. You could say goblins get it. It's like, well, I kinda would like to live here now. I'm going to fuck you. I don't fucking care. Ah, good times, good times. Where do we need to go now? Well, back there again. I kind of forgot how much running around there is around here, but I guess I'm just gonna have to take it. Don't I? Ah, nah. What strange time to live in, but oh well. As I look at my giant head and go like, yeah, that must be our leader. I don't know why he's retreating, but that must be our leader. I'm sure he has a master plan at hand. Indeed, they could have actually just, created a nice little new company with a new name under the larger Aldi umbrella, and went with that. But no, instead they started changing their own stores around. That and the increase in prices that is anyway around thanks to the fucking inflation. Yeah, that doesn't really appeal to me. I mean, if you think about it, it's something, or well, someone, rather, in my position right now. Right now, I do need to be cheap in my spendings. Meaning that, knowing that there's a store that is very well known for that is actually a plus. It endears them to me, as I have not much spending money, obviously. However, if you change that all around, yeah, that does not really work that well. Because then I can just go to the other one, and I can just go to the next one that is perhaps even closer, and then I have less, and I need to carry my things less of a distance. But alas. I am keeping it real, little goblin, believe you me, otherwise I wouldn't be fucking sitting here doing this. Let me say it like this. Most companies will stretch their profit margin as far as they can. Meaning that, you know, if you give them a good excuse, like, oh no, it's all the inflation, the worldwide inflation that's going around, and they start upping the prices, yeah, they will try to get this as fast as they can. As I said before, you know, having an image as a cheap brand does not necessarily mean anything bad. It quite literally just means that you are cheap. Lots of people actually prefer cheap over everything else. Heck, I know people, I don't know if you know him, Strategy, one of the people involved with the Zoom communication app, the head of, the head executive of the areas for Germany, Swift, Netherlands, and the in Eastern Europe. That guy. I actually know that guy. See, I know one of the people who was very much high up the food chain. Basically, one of the top executives of the company in regards to Germany and the surrounding areas. Guy is fucking loaded as shit, as you can imagine, because he was in the company when Zoom blew up from, you know, a small little communication app to, thanks to Corona. I don't know how many users they had at some time, but everyone, including the government and every company, wanted to get in on that whole thing because, well, we needed a tool to communicate and do work. And, well, they had just the right timing to be around. But yeah. That guy, he goes shopping at Aldi. He's like, of course I do. Why wouldn't I? It's like, I have cheap stuff. I like cheap stuff. But he could probably afford something a bit better if he wanted. He could afford food delivery, a grocery delivery if he wanted to. He doesn't. He just goes shopping at Aldi. Doesn't live in a mansion or anything either. Just, well, he has an apartment. A small one. Actually know where it is. Pretty sure so. I could actually visit him if I wanted to. It's like an hour or so away from here. Huh? Yeah, that's the fake rich ones. They think that. I mean, don't get me wrong, the guy dresses well. Likes wearing shirts. Striped shirts are not my taste, but it's okay. Not even those are high quality. He doesn't want to run with some Louis Vuitton bag or any of this nonsense, because he's like, why would I do that? That seems fucking stupid. Just like, yeah, it's the New World Reach would kinda need to show that, look at us, we have money. It's like, yeah, it's neat, but nobody fucking cares. Like when middle class people get a bit too high up on their horse and consider themselves to be a high class and don't understand what high class actually means. Actually, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm freed. Okay, so that seems to be my job. I'm just gonna slay a few of those assholes and find out. Ah, yeah. You seem like a captured goblin. I've seen some shit like this happening. People who would suddenly come into money, have zero experience, but still think that, yeah, the best thing we could do is start a business. Or try to create a brand for ourselves. I'm like, okay, you may want to take, you know, at least a business course or something, maybe learn something about marketing, because, well, I won't agree that everything that you learn when it comes to marketing is to be taken as is, because a lot of that shit seems ridiculously stupid. Speaking of yourself, well, no, I went in and I had some experience, mind you. Not the broadest experience, of course. There were a lot of areas that I was absolutely not prepared to deal with, like, you know, HR things, like dealing with hiring personnel, how to keep your personnel and stuff like this. There was a lot I needed to learn, mind you. I'm not gonna deny that. But at least I had a broad understanding of business. It wasn't very in-depth, but that came later. And I also didn't start from a position of I have, you know, no knowledge, but I have money. I started from a position I have some knowledge, just not very much money. Well, it's all an experience. And nowadays I can use this experience because now I can claim that I have done it all. If I apply for a position in HR, I can sell, okay, I can tell them, look, I actually did interviews from the other side. I have experience with that. If I were to tell them, look, I know what it, how to manage a whole fucking order system. I can tell them, I have experience with that. I know how to do this shit. Give me some time to work my way into your systems, I'm sure I can handle that. Pretty fucking useful, because it basically, depending on how you, well, sell it, you basically can claim that you have experience in pretty much everything. But just really, really useful. It's no guarantee to get a job, but it's better than nothing. I don't really think there is much of a difference, to be fair. Especially not nowadays. Let's be honest, yeah. But well. It was worth an experience, and now I can write it down in my dearest of little document and go like, look, I'm fucking awesome, I can do it all. Which, to be fair, it's the whole reason why I actually do get invited to an interview, and not just immediately rejected. But still, and of course, if you apply to different positions, it's always a good idea to somewhat modify what you actually sent in as your CV, because, well, you know, you want to highlight different things that might be relevant to your position. So you might want to, you know, put in an extra line about your extensive experiences in HR if you're going for an HR position. If you're going in a more classical management position, then you, of course, want to highlight that you have more experience with that, but alas, all of these things. Good times. And mayhaps at some point I will get a job again, which is something I will very much look forward in. Oh wait, I don't actually know. I would look forward to just have some more time to play games, but for some reason, whenever I'm like, I only need to get through this month and then I will have some more time, something else creeps up. It's annoying. Rather annoying. I must admit. But well, it is what it is. It is what it is indeed. And since I sadly have not found a giant sponsor that will, you know... Actually, what would it be called? I guess a sugar mummy, eh? Maybe just sugar daddies. That would be kinda nice. Getting fat, watered, and getting roof over your head just for, you know, being a little bit of arm candy. Sadly, I don't think I qualify to that position very much. Probably should start hitting the gym if that is my life goal. But no. Let us be a bit more realistic. Shall we not? But you know, you can get surprisingly far without, oh well, with abandoning quite a bit of realism. I mean, to be fair, strategy, if you want to be my sugar daddy, I mean, I'm not into that whole gay sex thing, but you know what they say, give me enough money. And that has been the truth of humanity since the age of dawn. I mean, to be fair, I've always believed that prostitution is the oldest scam in the world to be ever around. Which it absolutely is. However, just because I consider it to be quite a nice scam doesn't mean that I'm not willing to sell my goods for the right price. And I think everyone would. It's always gonna be just a matter of fucking money. Because that's the nice thing. Schmexy things have no intricate value, apart from the obvious value that we apply to them by being, you know, that feels good. However, it is not something you can just put a number on. So it's basically a market that is, well, on one hand, very much three-dimensionally being controlled by the customers, so to speak. Am I supposed to walk there, or is there faster way? I should sometimes read what the quest says, shouldn't I? Before they make any moves against the humans. Aha. Cool. Okay, so I do need to walk there. But yeah, if you have something that has no value that is easily quantifiable, like Smexy times, then you can potentially apply whatever fuck price you want. Or, in other words, whatever price the other party is willing to pay for it. And as women have learned, men are willing to be quite willing to pay quite a lot of money for that. Quite amazing, isn't it? Quite scammy as well, but yeah, that's another topic. A topic of interest, so to speak. Maybe I can sell myself more as a maid style kind of person, you know. Wearing a nice little uniform and cleaning a house or something. Actually, I wouldn't feel bad doing that. As long as I'm getting paid well and can play games in the rest of my free time. So long as my free time is actually long enough for that.
Hit the road. Don't waste my time.
Never say never before you tried it, I guess.
Hit the road.
Okay, so I have some rockets and I need to kill some people. That doesn't sound too bad. But first, some more smoke. Actually, I managed to get some coffee on my pipe. I don't know even how I managed that, but I did. Could you stop dying? Then like, yeah. Alright, well, admit there's an unrealistically high amount of zombies, considering how many goblins actually landed here. Which strange, if you ask me. Okay, so how does this work? Just like that, I can just fucking fly it. It's a rather comfortable way of getting around, while mercilessly burning the reanimated corpses of my brethren. Which, to be fair, is something I can see goblins do. They just don't give too much of a shit, for the most part. They would literally sell their own family members for money, given half a chance. Actually, I always endeared this little species to me. They are very honest about their desires. What? They're not? Okay, so there are some people I actually need to kill in the good old-fashioned way. By flying violence. Only problem is I don't actually have my little void walker with me. That's kind of saddening. Still, people always wonder why I'm like, I don't want to watch the news any longer. They are just gonna tell me horrible things. And every single time, precisely how it ends. Disappointing. Or, if not disappointing, to the point where you kind of want to just, you know, hit your head against the wall until you forgot about all of that nonsense. I'll give you one nice example. I recently, out of pure curiosity and coincidence, looked at the youth words. Because, you know, there's actually a whole fucking organization that deals with that shit and determines them year by year. And since Germany, of course, is the sort of organization that looks at that in the long run. You can look back all the way to the 1950s for the young people speak. It's rather amazing. Because you see, in the past, a lot of these things were actually somewhat sensible, as you would expect from young people to come up with. Then you look at stuff from the 2010s onwards and suddenly you realize, strange things. Strange things indeed. Why strange things, you wonder? Well, see, it's not like German youth in the past didn't have a tendency to go the words that weren't strictly speaking German into their slang. That's actually quite the old feature, especially when it comes to their English words and shit. That stuff has always had a certain influence. Nowadays, well, I will say I'm absolutely... If that is the sort of language people use, then I will politely point out that we should probably give up as a species. We should probably, dissolve Germany again, because that's not really the future I'm striving for. But alas, that aside, you can actually now see the influences in words used from a whole different speech. So, well, in the past, stuff like gentleman or stuff would be co-opted into the language. No problem there, it's understandable, it's international. Especially in the 70s and 80s, I think. They actually see a lot of that in their young people speech. Nowadays, you see words like, what was it again? One of the used words. I don't even fucking remember what it was called. Tell us something. That is all I remember. Which, of course, has no sort of connection to either of the Western languages. It is actually something that apparently originated in the... I don't know, surprise... I attacked a goblin. Can I just... I can just run into you. Basically, words that are directly taken, that are not even translatable, mind you. That's the most fun part, from the Arabic part of the world. And I'm like, I wonder where that comes from. I wonder. Might it be because we have decided to take in quite a few people with a background in that particular area who have no intention of actually, integrating into our society. Like, yeah, that is pretty much what it is. But do not do this, you asshole. I'm trying very hard to, be a nice little goblin here, doing my job, riding my rocket. But you're kind of killing me here. Little fucking headhunter. How do things change? Oh well. I still have some hope that I might potentially, be dead before this breaks down into a horrible mess. One can hope and dream. Because it will absolutely, at some point, end like that. Actually, the greatest conflict in it all, and the most fun part of this particular conflict, is actually that the people that came over during the 60s and 70s as guest workers and then have decided to stay here, so the first, or one of the first great immigration waves we had, especially from the southern countries like Italy, where these people came from, are nowadays far more outward German, and proud Germans, mind you, than, well, a lot of the, let's say, purebred Germans. Now, these people have a lot of problems with the newcomers who have no interest in integrating whatsoever, and they're very vocal about it. So at some point, these two groups, both with basically the same background, oh shit, I missed a quest there, to some degree at least, will at some point very, very much start fucking hating each other. Okay, where am I supposed to get that? Of course, over there. Yeah, I should have figured. Can I use the rocket again? Because otherwise this is going to be rather difficult. Should I use the rockets? Yes, I can. Oh yeah, I sure hope that this is not going to boil over while I'm still alive. That would be rather nice. I would rather not get involved in such nonsense. For some reason or another. As you might figure. Actually, reminds me, I did see the one Polish politician who actually made some... actually saw him because, well, he was called out for being apparently very much so an Islamophobe, and I was like, yeah, I've heard this particular accusation so fucking often these days. For some reason I have a hard time believing it, out of hand, because people who tend to use this language always seem to be somewhat more motivated by ideology than actually, trying to make an argument. I mean, they just use that sort of language nowadays as a fucking... I'm not going to fucking argue with you. Which is, of course, immediately meant that I had to look about. I think I actually... He was pretty damn harsh on what he said, let's just say. Jesus Christ. It's been a long time since I heard a politician, mind you, somebody who's actually well, somewhat reliant on the public's opinion, being that fucking frank about his opinions, and I honestly found it rather endearing. Because politicians have a tendency to talk a lot of shit, a lot of nice sounding shit, because, you know, that's what I said, you know, they kinda would like to be voted into power. At least once, so they can then retire on taxpayer money for the rest of eternity. That guy was... He was like, yeah, if you come illegally to our country, we're gonna shoot you. I was like, okay, that's... I mean, he's not wrong, technically speaking. A country does have an obligation to protect its borders. One of the main obligations that any country should have. Rather obviously, and for obvious reasons. But if your population has the distinct feeling that they're going to be, you know, invaded one form or another, that's really not gonna make you popular, let's just say. So here a politician just going like, yeah, this is how it's gonna be. I was like, yeah, okay, that's didn't thought however I would find myself being like, yeah, that's pretty amazing of you little Poles, but guess I have to you know, reconsider my German instincts to invade Poland whenever shit goes wrong. Might actually be worth having them aboard. Seems like a good idea, actually. Actually had a nice little interview. I read the transcript of that. Quite enjoyable read, mind you. I must admit. Not something you see every day, especially nowadays. After all, you know, your language needs to be, at least in the public space, more correct than ever. Something I always found to be rather strange.
What's up? Glad I could help. Don't be a stranger.
But well, strangeness aside indeed. Shrunken birds and deliver them to...
Move it.
Okay, so I'm supposed to be using my boots again. I'm supposed to be going with that. Remedied volcanoes caldera and deliver them...
Don't waste my time.
Ah, that's how you do it. You just need to be a bit closer. Okay, fair enough. Although I can actually rather clearly foresee that if this is the sort of unity that we have in the EU, where we can't even agree or find a compromise, it doesn't completely alienate one of our members.
Yes? What is it?
It's not really a good sign, is it now? Well, it's really not a good time.
We have field tests.